I am here in my backyard to talk about decomposers. This giant mushroom has sprouted in my backyard. Now there's several other mushrooms around. There's different ones, but this one in particular, I put my hand behind it. You can see just how big that mushroom is. It's huge, okay? Now, it is a decomposer, but this thing is the sporophyte generation of the fungus. This is where it's going to release spores into the air. The fungus is all down in the soil, all down here. See, all the fungi, all these mushrooms, these are all connected, okay? This is all, there are fungi cells, hyphae, going all through the soil matrix right here. Now, soil is a matrix. Remember, I told you earlier, it's not just sand, silt, and clay and, metals. It's not the mineral component of soil. That's not all there is to it. There is a living component, a biotic component of soil. And fungi, fungal hyphae, fungal cells, moving throughout the soil, earthworms, other subterranean and creatures such as fire ants even, make changes in this soil matrix, this matrix of living and non-living things. Now, we can see the sporophyte generation of the mushrooms, so it's easy to talk about them as being decomposers, but that's not the whole story to what decomposers are. In truth, the great decomposers of the world are bacteria. Mushrooms are decomposers. That's true. They're not detritivores. It's not like an earthworm where they, eat some dead leaves and then poop out little bits that sort of look like little bits of dirt. It's not like that. They don't poop out anything. They completely chemically change things. So the fungal cells will grow into what they're eating. It's really, think of it more like an animal that doesn't run around. It eats things. It digests things, living and non-living. It's not a plant. It appears to have roots-ish, and it appears to sort of grow up from the ground a bit like a plant does. But that's really just a sporophyte generation. That's really just the mushroom part of the fungus. That's not the only part of the fungus. The fungal cells are growing through its food and decomposing it. It releases enzymes. Imagine if you ate something, because the way you eat something, imagine that, but in reverse. That's how mushrooms decompose things. It decomposes things eventually down into ammonia and ammonium. And that's a critical part of the nitrogen cycle. It can't end there. Ammonia and ammonium is actually toxic to plants. So it has to be changed. It has to be nitrified. It has to go through the nitrification process and become nitrate and nitrite before plants can actually use it. That's one of the major separations between mushrooms and plants. A lot of folks think that mushrooms are plants. They're not even close. In fact, the mushrooms create a material that is actually toxic to plants, and bacterial decomposers have to change that again into NO compounds, nitrate and nitrite, before plants can use them. So they're really not as closely related, not even at all, really. They're different kingdoms. Plants and mushrooms that sort of appear to have a similar growth style, but they're almost opposites. Speaking of them being a different kingdom, I've got a few questions for you. First of all, since they're kind of like an animal, but it's just, again, an animal that doesn't run around, can you hunt mushrooms like you would hunt an animal? Can you hunt wild mushrooms? Is that a thing? If so, what sort of mushrooms are wildly hunted? We hunt white-tailed deer. What kind of mushrooms do people hunt? On that topic, how much money is made? What is the economic impact of mushroom hunting? Furthermore, is there such a thing as mushroom farming? There's such a thing as deer farming, bison farming. That's how you can buy bison steaks at Tom Thumb. There's no one went out and shot a bison. It's farmed bison. So what about mushrooms? Can mushrooms be farmed? If so, what kind of mushrooms get farmed? If so, what's the economic impact of these mushroom farms? How much money is being made off these things? Now, last but not least, what is the environmental impact of mushroom farming? Not wild mushroom hunting. Very, very little environmental impact there. But of mushroom farming, what is the environmental impact there? Is it positive or negative? There is such a thing as having a positive impact. But is that what's happening in this case? Or does all that nitrogen, all that phosphorus, all that uric acid, it's got to go somewhere? So you tell me. You do the research. What is the environmental impact?